All around the world, great draconic creatures can be found in tales and stories dating back millennia. Not only do dragons exist far and wide, but each culture seems to have their own distinct species of this mythological creature. In Scotland, this beast is commonly known as the Bheithir. It is said to tower above all men and have the form of a great serpent. But this dragon has no wings or fiery breath. Instead, it kills its victims with giant pointed fangs and a potent venomous sting. Today's tale is of one such beast and its hidden mountain lair, Beinn. At the entrance to Loch Leven, near Ballahullish, there stands a great mountain known as Beinn, but it did not always have this name. Long ago, a great Bheithir made its home in lair, a large dark hollow carved into the side of the mountain, which at the time was known as Beinn. From the lip of the corrie, the evil serpent could monitor all the lands from the foot of the mountain to Ballahullish Pier. By night, the beast would leave its shelter and stalk silently down to the village, looking for a meal, which it often found. Not only did it hunt during the night, but many say that if an unsuspecting traveller would journey too near the corrie, the Bheithir would leap from the shadows and tear the man apart. The villagers tried everything they could to rid themselves of this terrifying beast. Many a brave or foolish warrior would challenge the Bheithir, but they would never return from the mountain. The locals were at a loss. Nothing could kill the great beast, and every night their number became fewer. Then on one day, a keen young man by the name of Charlie the Skipper sailed into Ballahullish. The night he landed, the skipper heard all the horrifying tales of the Bheithir and the plight of the locals. It was then that Charlie promised to do all in his power to rid the land of this foul creature. At first light on the next morning, the skipper began to work. First he anchored his boat some distance off the pier. Then the young Scotsman began to build a floating bridge between the boat and the pier by lashing together empty whiskey barrels. Atop the empty barrels, the skipper fixed many razor-sharp iron spikes. When his work was done, Charlie lit a fire on the boat's deck and began to throw large chunks of flesh upon the flames. As the meat crackled and seared, a beguiling scent headed along the spiked bridge, up the pier at Ballahullish, and on towards the corrie and the mountain. Within minutes, the Bheithir tasted the cooking meat in the air, and the greedy beast began to make its way out of the corrie and down the mountain side. In a series of nimble leaps, the hungry creature came to the pier. There it hesitated for a moment, seeing the large iron spikes on the new bridge. But the beast was clever. It knew this to be a trap. Yet the confidence of the creature was shown as it leapt out onto the barrels and began to race towards the boat, jumping from spike to spike. At just that moment, a roar went up from the skipper on the boat, and as he cast off the ropes attached to the barrels, a local man did the same at the pier. The new spike-laden bridge began to float out into Loch Leven. The nimble beast reached the end of the bridge, but the boat was too far to jump. Quickly it turned back, leaping between the spikes, but the pier was now too far also. Enraged at this trick, the beast continued leaping back and forth, as there was no area between the spikes large enough for the Bheithir to land. Until finally, fatigue overtook it. The beast landed hard as the iron spikes entered its body, and it was there that the Bheithir slowly died of its wounds. Charlie the Skipper was hailed as a great hero for outsmarting and defeating the terrible lizard. The villagers around the mountain now felt as if they could continue their lives in peace. But this was not to be, as more evil dwelled within the corrie. Before the Bheithir had ventured down to the Barrel Bridge on that day, it had left behind a mate. The female Bheithir was heavily pregnant, and due only to this, there was peace in the mountain for some months. But eventually, the beast would return. On one dark night, the new mother and her brood exited the quarry and headed quietly down the mountain, where they found a great bale of hay. The mother placed her young within the hay to keep them safe and hidden, while she hunted for food. The Bheithir wrapped its way through the fields and streets of the small village. There it entered a house and began to eat its fill. As the ravenous beast ate, the early hours of the morning came, and a young farmhand headed to the great pile of hay. A moment later, the young boy ran back to the farmhouse in absolute terror, after seeing the young Bheithir asleep in the hay. Through wild gestures and incoherent words, the boy eventually let the farmer know what he had seen. The farmer in all haste grabbed a lantern and set fire to the hay. The anguished screams and roars of the infants echoed all round the glen as they burned. The tormented sounds would reach the ears of the feeding mother, who dropped her prey and rushed to save her young. But by the time the Bheithir reached the edge of the farm, only ashes remained. Upon witnessing the scorched bodies of her young, the mother wandered slowly to the shore and lay upon a large flat rock, known today as Dragon's Rock. There the final Bheithir of Beinn lashed herself to death with her own tail. After the beasts were all dead, the locals began to call the mountain by a new name, a name that we still use to this very day: Beinn, Mountain of the Dragon. The Bheithir are certainly interesting creatures, and show up quite a few times in Scottish folklore. Their name in Gaelic, Bheithir, actually has a few definitions, such as serpent, snake, thunder, and lightning. This is why you will sometimes see Beinn referred to as the Mountain of Thunder. Some suggest that the Bheithir is actually a form of Vua, a type of evil spirit or sidhe from Scottish folklore, and that they have a strong connection to the water, which may very well be true. According to notable Scottish folklorist John Campbell, the Bheithir is described as the largest and most deadly kind of serpent. It dwells in dark mountain caves and has a venomous sting. It is said that if a person is stung by a Bheithir, they must run to the nearest loch or river, as if they reach the water before the creature, they are cured. But if the Bheithir arrives first, no medicine known to man will prevent the victim's death. One superstition on the creation of a Bheithir can be found in the Highlands, where it is said that if you kill a snake, be sure to destroy the head some distance from the body. Otherwise, the head and the body will rejoin, and the snake will return as a Bheithir. Campbell actually provides another account of the tale I have just told, although this time the setting is in Islay, and the beast aboard the barrels is killed by cannon. But I personally prefer the Beinn version. The truth of what the Bheithir is or was is entirely unknown. Some have said the tale may have spawned from exaggerated sightings of grass snakes or giant eels. It has also been suggested that the violent and destructive nature of the draconic Bheithir may have been a poetic metaphor for the devastating power of lightning storms. But who knows? Perhaps somewhere, deep within a mountainous cavern, the Bheithir still lives, just waiting for someone to journey too near the quarry. Thank you for listening, and a special thank you to all my patrons who help support the channel. On a quick final note, there may have been a few modern sightings of the Bheithir, but I could not find any good sources on the subject. One sighting comes from Sgwr na Lapich in 1930, but I couldn't find any more information on this sighting. Another happened in 1975, in a gorge near Kilmorick, where a group of fishermen saw a 9 to 10 foot serpent swimming in the water. But as the men approached, the creature swam away, and they never saw it again. If anyone has any sources or information on these sightings, or more tales of the Bheithir in general, I would love to hear them. Thanks again. Slán Siva.